Welcome to Pulse of the Heartland's live college football stream. Week 3 recap, kind of week 4 setup here. So, boys, it keeps getting to be better and better this season, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Sure
Can't believe
does.
it.
Hawkeyes are putting up points.
Hey, I'm proud of them. That's for sure. So the game only took 7 hours to get 27 points, but they did it. So that's the most important thing. And they hit the under. That was the very important thing in that game. So,
Right.
But no, I appreciate everyone joining us here live on YouTube here. I would say we try and keep it the same consistent time every week here. If you are listening on podcast and want to get us on our socials, Joe, you want to hand those out?
Yeah, as always, Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse, and just search Pulse of the Heartland on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching us live on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and comment in the comment section. We like getting a little bit of fan interaction. I'm sure we'll get a few questions about some over-unders and some spreads from Don here in a little bit. I'm surprised he has his one for us already, but we always enjoy the fan interaction, and as always, tell your friends, let them know to join us on Thursdays and all for other podcast stuff. Follow us on our socials and join in on those as well.
Absolutely. What you sipping on there, Joey?
Little Bush Light. They don't open real well here. They're not flat by any means, but they didn't fizz or anything.
Didn't sound very
a little different.
Didn't sound very crispy.
It doesn't sound crispy. It tastes fine, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I've got one on backups. We'll get to hear the real Bush Light here once I'm done with my drink that I'm drinking now.
I'll shake up. I like it. I'll shake up my next one.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have told me we were breaking our bushes out, I would have joined you, but I just got Crown and Coke over here.
Oh, that's what. Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry,
no.
wrong bush.
Joey, sit down, please.
That's the OnlyFans page. Come on.
Yeah, not from personal experience, but man, those are kind of a bitch to set up. Got to get your credit card information in there and verify your email. It's a lot of stuff, but from what people tell me. But
or you just let your Capital One card get used multiple times, and then it sets it up on its own, and then you just have to shut it off, and then you can't sign up for it ever again. Speaking from non-experience, from what I hear.
Oh, shit. So, yeah. Well, we'll move on from that then. Well, the first thing I want to do, actually, is a correction, but I changed it into a trivia question because I got hoodwinked by my Boomer Sooner fan. So, the premise is he was joking about how the Cyhawk series isn't as big as, Red River Rivalry, and it's not. But he was also joking it's not as big as the Iron Skillet, which somehow in our conversation I took as was the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry, which is not. It's not named. It's just Oklahoma-Nebraska. But the real battle for the Iron Skillet is happening this weekend. Do either of you two know the two names that are playing in that game?
It's got to be a Big Ten game.
Well, no, it's not actually.
Isn't it like Washington and Washington State or something like that? Isn't it a Pac-12 game?
No, that would be the Apple Cup. It is actually one Big 12 team. You want another clue?
Yeah.
It involves a team from Texas. Well, both teams are in Texas. One Texas Big 12 team.
Texas A&M and
no clue. It is the TCU Horned Frogs and the SMU Mustangs. So they battle for the Iron Skillet every year, I guess.
And the Iowa State game isn't as big of a rivalry as that. Come on.
Yeah, that's what he's joking, is that it's as small as the TCU SMU game. But, just for reference, TCU leads the series 51-42-7, and then they play this weekend at 11 o'clock in Dallas. I don't know if it's on TV, and I didn't care to do much more research because I was already insulted enough because the Cyhawk is the biggest mistake-ridden football game in the country. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here comes your real Bush sound, Joey.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. That sounds like an Ames tailgate right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just foamed in my pants.
Oh no!
I had to finish my Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It's the first one of the year.
What are you doing, Red? You have to wake up at 4.
Yeah, but I guess first off, you're bypassing the bigger point. He's drinking an Oktoberfest in September. What the fuck are you thinking?
Sorry.
It's not Septemberfest. This is pumpkin spice season.
You're so basic, Bryant. Jesus.
I am the only one here that no. Joey has TikTok. I was gonna say I'm the only one that has TikTok. So no, Joey does.
Grippies, you're probably wearing Ugg boots right now too.
One of my friends, she sent me a photo. It's like ready for fall, and it was like pumpkin spice beer, pumpkin spice coffee. I think it was like leaf shaped tortilla chips. I was like, okay, like I appreciate fall, but that's a little excessive there.
Mm-hmm. My cousin Sage sent me something a couple weeks ago. It was hot take: apple cider is better than pumpkin spice, or something like that. And I couldn't have been more happy to be related to her because
100%.
Yeah, I hate pumpkin spice. I fucking hate pumpkin spice. It stinks. It tastes terrible. Like, fuck that shit.
I like pumpkin pie stuff. Pumpkin spice lattes are disgusting.
Yes, I agree with you. Pumpkin pie is good. And I love roasted pumpkin seeds. Does Katrina ever make those? They're awesome on the smoker, by the way.
I do them on the Pit Boss.
Yeah, nice. Cool.
Yeah, we carve our pumpkins and I take the seeds out and do them on the Pit Boss.
Well, we can do a quick little smoking section. What do you do to prep those pumpkin seeds in case people want to know?
Oh, you just put a little oil on them and your favorite rub. Toss them up, put them on a cookie sheet, and then smoke them.
Okay.
You know, so my mom. Do you guys ever remember coming to my place and my mom having like Chex Mix all the time? She used to make with the peanuts and all the Worcestershire sauce and crap. I keep wanting to try that on the Pit Boss and see if that would be good. Have you done that yet, Trent?
I have done sweet and spicy Chex Mix on the Pit Boss with like some cayenne and stuff on it and like a caramel sauce. It was amazing.
Nice. Maybe I should do that coming up.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed. Missouri and Iowa is having like you guys are having some fall like weather right now, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And by the time I get back there this weekend, it's going to be like 86 and we're pouring concrete. So,
yep.
Not here. I think the high today was like 65, maybe.
Fuck.
Yep.
I was walking around outside here in Houston. It was 97.
It's sweat of weather, man.
It's one of those. It's one of those days, Joey, where you turn the heat on in the morning, and by the time you go out to lunch, you got to turn that heater off because now that's the Iowa weather. 30-degree difference every single day now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like it.
So, but no, I would say I just wanted to. I would say just kind of highlight the biggest things. I would say Arizona fires Herm Edwards. I mean, he coached the Chiefs. He was all right. I guess he didn't affect my team, which that's why Arizona got rid of him because he just lost to Eastern Michigan 30-21, but I don't know. I always thought the one was weird from the start because I remember when they hired him, he was like, I want to have the CEO mindset, like I'm the boss of the. It's like, yes, but that's a very weird. Like, you know who was also the boss? Just the head coach. Like, why do you have to be a CEO? You want to be Jeff Bezos over here? You know?
Yeah.
So I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that. That confirms it. Matt Campbell is heading to where are they at? Tempe.
Yep.
Arizona State.
Man,
he's gone.
I don't blame him. That Hooter down there is awesome. And so is the Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Matt Campbell's Iowa State career. He's going to go over and take over a dysfunctional Arizona State team before they join the Big 12 again. So.
Yep.
But no, I would say that one didn't affect me too much. I thought it was kind of funny. And they also pointed out, I've never seen anyone like. Usually they have a press conference the next day. And it's like we've come to a decision. They're like, no, we can't even wait until he gets to the locker room. I just fired him on the freaking field too.
Really?
Yeah, did you not see that video?
No, I've been out of pocket for the last couple of weeks. Sorry.
It's good. No, he literally was walking off the field. The AD was standing in the end zone and did the little half hug and like kind of they were doing the manly. Yep, sounds good. And then he was fired before he even left the stadium. So yeah, I've just never seen so. It's weird to see a firing in person. You couldn't hear anything, but yeah, it was just definitely odd to say the least.
Yeah, at least it wasn't at the airport like Lane Kiffin.
True. Well, and at least, he didn't get upset to call in a nuclear explosion if his team lost, kind of like that Utah student.
That's crazy. Explain that.
So the student called in said they were going to blow a nuclear reactor that's on, I believe, on the campus there. if the team lost to San Diego State last week. Now, we're not going in a nuclear apocalypse because Utah won, I think it was 21-7, but like I've been upset when my team loses, and it's probably like I'm just going to punch a hole in a wall, but there's a big step you have to take as a lunatic fan to go from I'm going to punch a hole in the wall, I'm so upset, to I'm going to cause a nuclear holocaust because my team lost. I mean, they lost week 1. They've already lost this year. I mean, what are they so upset about?
Man, what is the maddest you've been after your team's lost?
I drank about 3 or 4 liters of beer at the hall down here in Des Moines, and it was after the Washington State Iowa State Alamo Bowl loss. I was pretty livid. I was saying some things that I shouldn't, and then I realized I was around small children as well, and I was like, I better just leave. So I left, but it wasn't like I haven't even got to the point where it's like I want to fight someone. I'm just pissed about the whole thing.
Yep.
That's after that game. I felt good after that game. I'm like, all right, we're set up to be good the next couple of years. The maddest I've been after an Iowa State football game, was Texas when.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Jeremiah George that stripped that at the goal line and like ran it for a touchdown, and the refs blew the whistle when he's like at the 50-yard line and said, no, runner was down by contact.
Yeah, with the formal apology letter.
Yeah, that was football. Basketball was the George Niang years, the block charge KU game in Hilton.
Well, if we're going to do angriest at basketball, then it's got to be fuck Aaron Kraft. That's probably the angriest I've ever been. Like when George Niang injured himself, it was kind of like I was disappointed but not angry. Aaron Kraft, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
If you're a listener.
Yeah.
All right, Joey, what about you?
Well, so I've got a couple. I don't have any basketball stories. I
Every
like
NCAA tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Luke Recker, Reggie Evans. I think I might have thrown my 64 controller down back in the day or something like that. But that's about it. Football. As far as Iowa football, I flipped a flip cup beer pong table one time. All had water in it because it was probably during swine flu or some shit. But yeah, that's the most mad I've been for that. The 28-3 Falcons Super Bowl. I went outside and slammed my fist down on my dad's outdoor table and put a big dent in that metal table. That was pretty great. And then the Iowa State wrestling meet last year when fuckstick Kyvan Gaston or whatever the hell his name is was talking shit. I flipped my recliner backwards standing up because I was so pissed. Fuck that guy. So yeah, and we even won that one. So that's how mad I was. But yeah.
Well, and I'm glad we had this little therapy session. Just get that off our chest, But again, none of us threatened to blow up a building. Never threatened an athlete because our team lost a little too much. So
yep, and never hurt anybody.
This guy must be smarter than me because I studied radiation for 5 years in college and work with radiation every day, and I don't know how to blow something up with nuclear power. So dudes must be smart. I don't know.
Good. Well, and then I would say the last thing I had on the agenda here was Rip Bedlam. That was kind of the big story with Oklahoma, and they've already had to do a little rescheduling out of conference, but they're getting rid of the Bedlam series, which, I mean, the move to the SEC, we kind of expected this one, I think.
Yeah, they can't play again now until like 2036 or something? Isn't something like 12 years down the road?
They said 20, like I think Gundy said 2040, but I mean, I think they're both just being pissy about it. I mean, again, Oklahoma, they're going to the SEC. They're going to want to get why would you want to play the SEC schedule and then you have Bedlam, which they've primarily dominated. Gundy's got them at least competing the last few years. But I mean, why would you want to have that? I would think you would want to play outside of the state. Oklahoma already out-recruits Oklahoma State in the state. Why would you not want to play, nationwide? We're seeing Georgia playing Oregon. We're seeing all these teams playing outside of their recruiting. That's the one weakness of the Cyhawk is we play each other and it's fun, but we're not getting the exposure outside of the state. If Iowa was playing or I'm sorry, if Iowa State was playing Illinois, or if Iowa was playing Missouri in the out of conference. They're just not getting exposure elsewhere. Where I think that's what Oklahoma wants to do at this point.
Yeah, but that's the fun part about college football is the rivalries.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that's the whole reason everyone watches it is to have the nostalgia and root for your team, be a part of a college football cult and stuff. Like that's what you want to be. Like, I think that sucks. That really blows.
So I didn't see what the Oklahoma people have been saying, but I did see Gundy was talking about how was saying no, Oklahoma State wasn't the one that blew this up. It was Oklahoma's blaming Oklahoma State that they're not going to play anymore. How can they blame Oklahoma State? They're the ones leaving. I don't get where they're coming from here.
Well, then the other side is saying that they offered to play them out of conference. I think they did, and then Oklahoma State said they didn't want to pursue it further. Which, honestly, if you're Oklahoma, and again, it sucks losing a huge game because remember how awesome when we were watching the backyard brawl earlier this year with West Virginia and Pitt. That was great to watch, but I think if you're Oklahoma State and you've been piss pounded for 120 years, I think the overall record. I mean, I know Oklahoma has over 90 wins. It's like 90, 17, and 2. It's astronomically way out there for a quote unquote rivalry. But I think if you're Oklahoma State, it does suck. But I think you try and get someone else on your schedule now and not prove your worth is the wrong way to say it. But I think you try, I guess, again, get exposure elsewhere, a little more nationwide, I suppose.
I mean, they're already going to be gaining ground in the Southeast, going clear over to Florida and stuff like that. I mean, they're going to be gaining some hotbeds. So, and honestly, for them, what bigger hotbeds are there than Oklahoma, Texas? And they're keeping their Texas rivalry. I guess my question is, where do they want to go? Somewhere in the Pac-12, in the Big Ten? Like, is that what their options are? Because you normally don't see SEC schools reaching out unless it's like the big opener game or something like that. So I guess I don't know where else they want to go that's a hotbed other than maybe California.
Yeah, I mean, taking a little jab at the SEC, that could be Oklahoma's Week 10 out of conference matchup, but it wouldn't be the cupcake that all the SEC schools play.
Right.
So
they don't play Chattanooga A&M. I mean,
exactly.
I get both sides of it, and unfortunately, that's where the sport is going. We're losing all these. Again, Iowa State and Missouri, we lost that one, the telephone trophy. It wasn't the biggest rivalry, but we lost that one once Missouri left for the SEC. I mean, the SEC, they are gaining the Arkansas, Texas A&M. They are keeping the Red River shootout. So I mean, they're gaining some rivalries, but yeah, it sucks. It's a loss for the Big 12, which sucks for me and Trent's teams. It just brings the conference down a little bit. But guess what? That just means that Farmageddon is that much more important in the Big 12 then. So
exactly. And so I guess my last thought on that too is, say that they did play week 2 or week 3. If they would have played this last weekend, like the big game of the weekend was Texas A&M Miami. Like, I would have much rather watched Oklahoma State Oklahoma if they were both ranked. To be honest with you, and I'm a Miami fan, so yeah.
Oh my God, that was we'll get to that one later, but that was a fucking snooze fest. I think I had Miami covering 5.5, and they just did not look good. That quarterback didn't look good. Don't tell Ryan, but Max Johnson led him to a victory. So we don't want to. We don't want to upset him by hearing he's doing good at a different school right now.
All right, maybe if I hold this one closer, let's see.
No. There you go. That sounds more like
it was better. It was better.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Busch Light, let's just get to our teams here. Iowa State beat Ohio 43-10 pretty handily. I think the biggest story on that one, it was kind of a get-right game for us, but also Will McDonald's second player ever in Big 12 history with 30 sacks, joining Von Miller. So I think it's is it 4 more for the record, 3 to tie it?
Yeah, because was that his first sack of the season?
Yes.
So yeah, he needed 4 to start when he started the season. So yeah, that's correct. 4 to break it.
Yeah.
So to tie Von, I thought Von Miller had the record.
Yeah, he needs 3 more to tie the record. So
tie
Von Miller.
Okay, I thought you said he tied him. I got you.
Yep, Von Miller 33, Will McDonald 30. So 3 to tie, 1 with the record, which I think we're all kind of shocked how long it took into the season to get this one. But Iowa's got a solid line, and honestly, probably Southeast Missouri, he probably wasn't pushing too hard, to be honest.
I thought he was going to break the record before halftime with 5 sacks in the first half for Southeast Missouri. Really thought he would come close to it, but took him 3 games, whatever.
Just get the record out of the way, then we can focus on the team stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, I really didn't get to watch much of the game. I played in a 27-hole golf tournament on Saturday, so I had it on my phone a little bit, but it just looked like it was out of hand by the time I started watching it, and Iowa State was kind of in cruise control, and they were already playing some guys that didn't normally play, and some starters were sitting already. So, like I said, I didn't get to watch much of it, but it was good to see a stress-free game. Usually, Iowa State gets into these things, and, at halftime, third quarter, you're still sweating it. But this one, it was kind of out of hand. I don't know if it was, like I said, didn't watch a lot of it, but was it even as close as 43-10? I didn't,
No.
I heard Ohio on one of the Cyclone Fanatic podcasts, they were saying like Ohio had 250 yards of total offense, and like 80 of them came in one drive, like in garbage time versus the backups or something like that. So defense, that's what, Iowa State's question is right now, I think, is the defense. Their offenses look pretty good. Like, they want to push the ball down the field, which we didn't see from Brock Purdy the last 4 years. So I like that. So the defense was the thing that kind of scared me this year. So seeing them only giving up, the first stringer is only giving up 150 to 170 yards versus Ohio. I like that.
I would say that Reader from Delaware has really been stepping up interceptions in back-to-back weeks here. The one thing when I've been talking at work, and the one thing I was kind of worrying about was Decker's getting through his progressions. We know he can hit X. He's going to catch in double coverage. He's proven that this year. I think he's 5th in the nation in receiving. But getting to what's the second read, the third read, can we, if someone shuts him down, because we're entering Big 12 play and we're dealing with a lot better athlete, not Iowa, sorry, because Iowa, and again, Xavier did pretty well even in that game, but we're getting to Big 12 where defense is going to be a little tougher than SEMO and Ohio. Can we get to the next person if someone shuts X down somehow? Yeah,
and I think that's just maybe setting up for one of the other receivers to have a huge game, because teams are going to start focusing on him so much.
Yeah.
And they should. Is it Sean Shaw? Is he like their second option kind of? And then the
Sean Shaw's number 2.
And then the dude from transfer from Colorado. Anyway, I think one of those guys, they're both good. I think they can have a huge game just because X is gonna get a lot of attention going forward.
X gonna give it to you.
He has been given it. So like you said, I think the big takeaway is we took care of an Ohio like we were supposed to. There's been years past where it's like, cool, it's third quarter and it's 10-7 because we can't get any offense and we allowed some fluke touchdown, So again, that was kind of nice getting that one out of the way. And then Iowa, it took them about 7 hours and 4 rain delays and everything else, but they finally need to beat Nevada 27-0, and they actually covered that one. That was kind of a big bit of controversy when we were talking about originally.
Yeah. Did anyone else see on Twitter that they called it like after the third lightning delay, and they were up 17-0 in the middle of the third quarter? Like, my Twitter timeline was just filled with them saying the game was over. Iowa won 17-0. And then I woke up the next morning and I'm like, what the fuck? 27-0. What the hell is this shit? And yeah, they scored touchdowns at like 1 a.m. And I was like, I didn't even know they were still playing. But yeah, it was a good game. Good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it was funny because like me and a couple buddies, we were drinking, playing Call of Duty. And I'm like, all right, 1 o'clock, 1:30, time to go to bed. And I turn and it's like fourth quarter still, 2 minutes left. I'm like, how the hell are they still playing even with the weather delays? But yeah, you look
Right.
around that stadium, it was just like I think I saw a picture. Someone brought their dog into the game because it was like they were walking their dog at 1 in the morning, no security guards. They just walked straight in. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, see, that's the other thing is like security and the sheriffs were telling people they had to evacuate and leave. And then after that last long delay, they all just left. And that's why everyone thought the game was called. And then they just bring the players back out and finish the game. So weird ass game. But
Sheriffs just went, done. Do whatever you want at this point, fellas.
We were only scheduled till midnight. Out of here.
12:01, my shift's done. All right. Have fun. Defend yourself.
Well, I'm sure Kirk was like, oh, 2 touchdowns? Yeah, game should be over. No one should score any more points. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is high scoring.
Yep. But no, it was I mean, good for them to get back on the right track, I guess. I'm gonna pull a Stu Goss from the Dan Levitard show, but do it against someone that counts. I know Nevada's not the greatest team in the nation. So yeah, let's do it against Rutgers and then do it again, the week after, and yeah, keep going. But yeah, that defense again gave up 151 total yards, less than 70 rushing, and 82 on passing. So that defense is still spectacular. We'll see if this offense can keep up with the scoring. I don't know. Against higher competition, we shall see. But I know I was checking out your CBS all 131 rankings on here. And they've got Rutgers at 65 and Iowa at like 70 something. No, Iowa's at 65 and Rutgers is at 56. That's what it was.
Yeah.
We shall see. I know. Go ahead.
I'd say the good thing is you're talking about bringing it up with stiffer competition. At least it's going to be a gradual jump. You're not getting Ohio State right off the bat. You do get Rutgers first in Big Ten play. So at least it's kind of a progression up the hill.
I was seeing some power rankings this week of the Big Ten, and Iowa's not even in the top 12. So it means they're in the bottom 2. So I was like, what the fuck? With that defense, how do you not even have them in the top 12? But
yeah, I mean, again, what we haven't seen this year yet is the defense scoring touchdowns like they were like when Riley Moss brought his couple returns or interceptions for a touchdown. That's what we haven't seen just yet. The scoop and score versus Iowa State. That's not burned in my memory, but once you get that going, you're going to jump right up there in the rankings.
And there haven't been a ton of pick six either because Iowa hasn't had a lead. So teams think that they can still run the ball and clock manage against them. So, I mean, unless there's fumbles and, scoop and scores like you just talked about, that's not really going to happen with pick sixes. So we'll see if that offense can get, 10, 14 points up on somebody somehow. And then maybe people start throwing the ball more downfield. We'll get some more picks. But yeah, otherwise, super impressive by the defense so far this year, and hopefully the offense keeps going.
So Joey, I just want to say it's not so fun when someone just runs the ball and you see the clock keep dwindling down, is it? Because that's what fucking Iowa did the last 6 years versus that. It's like, quit running the fucking ball. I need this clock to stop to give us some time.
Oh no, I like it. I mean, because that's what Iowa's doing. But I would like to see more. Yeah. The only reason I would like to see more passing is for Iowa to get more interceptions. That's it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I don't know where our costume man is tonight, but maybe he'll join here shortly. But we're actually going to talk about Kansas because they're making some noise here. Kansas actually beat Houston. Did any of you guys catch either of these games on Saturday?
No.
Oh, man, Kansas is fucking legit. They brought in a few transfers on the line. That quarterback, Jalen Daniels, is pretty legit, man. I mean, I'm not saying Houston is the epitome of the Big 12. It's not like they're knocking off Oklahoma or Texas or, they're beating a top team. But Houston was top 25 to start the year, and they throttled them. I mean, teammates were fighting on the sidelines. I mean, 48-30. I think that leaves them. I think they're third nationally in points per game right now. I mean, where the fuck did this team come from?
Yeah, their 3 wins have been convincing too. The first game, I can't even remember who they beat because it was some
Tennessee Tech.
Sure. Now they beat the crap out of them. They suck. Now Houston win by 18 to a previously ranked Houston team that's always solid. And then even like the West Virginia game, I know it went into overtime, but it's not like they lucked their way into overtime in that game. I mean, so KU's 3 wins have been good, convincing wins. So this week they played Duke, the battle of the blue blood football programs, or I suppose basketball programs too, whatever. They could be 4-0. Iowa State wins this week versus Baylor. They would be 4-0. Iowa State, KU would be 4-0 going into a game with each other. Get game day in Ames for that. Come on. Who says no? Who says no?
They'll make sure to bring in some Kansas alumni, though, if they do go to Ames.
Yeah, it'll probably be like Jeff Withey or Perry Ellis or somebody would be the guest picker.
Perry Ellis.
Oh,
yes. Thank you.
Bill Self himself would be the frickin' guest picker, probably.
They're probably going to have to get a walker. It's going to have to be handicap accessible to get onto the stage. But, Perry Ellis will join. The man's only 85 years old, so.
It'll probably be Andrew Wiggins and Harrison Barnes is who they'd bring on.
That would be legit. And then here's someone from Ames,
Right. Yeah. Didn't go to Iowa State, but he was from Ames.
Yeah. Close enough.
Compared to who was the country guy we were bitching about a couple
Eric
weeks ago?
Church.
Eric Church. He's like, have you heard of Iowa? He's like, I've done concerts in Des Moines before. That's about the closest connection he's got.
Good enough.
Good enough. Yeah. And then Kansas State, dark horse that everyone thought was just gonna had. We said it before. They had to have a perfect season to do it, and Adrian Martinez ain't it. And they dropped the deuce versus Tulane. They lost 17-10. So. I don't know. I mean, not like their season's over yet, but that was a pretty sad performance versus Tulane.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it, but I don't think. I mean, Tulane, they usually make a lower end bowl, but I don't know. I don't think they're great. I think, like you said, K-State. I mean, if you looked at Twitter 3-4 weeks ago, they were going to win the Big 12 this year. So
yeah. They were trying to figure out, should I just buy tickets now for a New York Six Bowl? I mean, I've just never heard of a team in the Big 12 that had a lot of returning starters, a stellar defense, a good starting quarterback that had big preseason anticipation and then shit their bed early in the year. I've never heard of that before.
Nope, it never happened. Not even like last year or anything.
I don't know why.
For you, though.
I don't know why all you Big 12 motherfuckers didn't listen to me when Uncle Joe was telling everyone Adrian Martinez, he sucks. No, what if it was Scott Frost's system? What if it was this? What if it was that? No, Adrian Martinez is just not a good quarterback. Never has been.
I said it too. I said, what in the last 3 years has he done that makes you think he's going to be good now?
Right.
Well, if I'm going to give Adrian Martinez any credit, one man still has his job, and that's Adrian Martinez currently. The other one got $15 million and doesn't have to be in Lincoln, Nebraska anymore, and that's Joey's fantasy right now. So you should be jealous of Scott Frost right now, Joey.
Yeah, congratulations to Scott Frost.
I mean, do I want to be Scott Frost? Kind of right now, but I would have never went there to begin with. And yes, you're right, Clark. They probably both were bad. You were correct. And I like how Clark also chimed in. He's driving home right now, so he says he won't be joining. But the Blue Bloods from basketball, man, that's hard to say. They all 4 are undefeated right now. You got Kansas, which we mentioned already. UNC is undefeated. Duke's undefeated, and so is Kentucky. So fuck yeah, look at that shit.
To add on to how bad Adrian Martinez has been this year, here, check this stat out. Iowa Hawkeyes are averaging 125 yards passing a game. Kansas State 115. That's how bad they're doing right now.
What?
I didn't realize. I knew they weren't lighting it up, but I didn't know it was that. Oh my god.
That's Deuce Vaughn's team, dude, and we all knew that. But I mean, it literally goes from the bottom. It's UMass, Air Force, which Air Force is just so fucking dominant running. Why even need to pass?
Yeah.
San Diego State, UConn, Kansas State is 126th, I guess. Navy, Colorado, Iowa. So there you go, Iowa.
Damn.
You're outperforming Kansas State. How about that?
Takes one game of 175 yards for Spencer Petras to bump us up a few spots.
That kid, his hands probably hurt after that game. He's not used to throwing that much.
Yep, probably.
Got blister.
But yeah, I would say just kind of go just so we can kind of get to the actual upcoming games. We've kind of been dinking around. Oklahoma 49-14. I mean, I don't think that shocked anyone. Did anyone even pick Nebraska? I thought someone maybe picked Nebraska to cover last week on the pod.
I wasn't here for picks, but that was stupid if you did.
Wasn't? Okay. Well, then I would say that one I had Oklahoma at least. I was worried first half covering about them because they've been slow, but Nebraska got an early touchdown, and then Oklahoma scored 49 straight points. So I mean, it was what everyone expected for some reason, and including myself. If we really want to call back on mistakes we had, my preseason prediction was Nebraska starts the year 3-1, and they lose to North Dakota, and they beat Oklahoma, and they lost to Northwestern, lost to Georgia Southern, lost to Oklahoma. They did beat North Dakota, though. So I think that's as wrong as you can get on a preseason prediction.
Yep, quite the opposite. Yeah, and I don't know who sent out the text to our group saying, I told you all, Nebraska's scary now. That's also an idiot. So that was me.
Scary bad.
Yep.
This is a judgment-free zone, Joey. We can just admit when we fuck up. The good thing is, at least like when I'm betting and making bad decisions, I'm losing $5 at a time. I know I got some buddies that are like, let's put in a $60 parlay. I'm not even going to risk anything on a game like that. So, but Penn State throttled Auburn. That doesn't really shock me. I mean, Sean Clifford's got 7 years of experience, so it's finally starting to kick in here. Oregon beat BYU 41-20. That one kind of shocked me. BYU hasn't been the greatest, but I think we're starting to see the true Oregon and not the Oregon that was just playing a very legit, very powerful Georgia team.
Do you think we're seeing the true Oregon, or do you think that Oregon's been this level and Georgia's just that much better?
I think Georgia's just that much better right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
remember
with.
Last year we at least had Stetson Bennett was not the best quarterback, so you can rely on that offense not scoring as much. And now he's starting to light it up, Yep. So I
think it's Georgia, and then everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's college football right now.
I think Bama showed their not weakness, but when you have a true road game for them, when you're in a hostile environment, they're not the most disciplined team, and it was a close game. They're still undefeated, but I do think Georgia's a clear number one right now. Bama there is a measurable difference behind them until we kind of see any crack in the armor for Georgia right now.
Mm-hmm. I do have a prediction on who's going to be Georgia's biggest test, but we'll bring that up when we talk about the rest of the games coming up this weekend.
Okay, we'll power through the rest here. Washington 39, Michigan State 28. I guess that's what happens when you pay what was it, $94 or $84 million to Mel Tucker, who I think he was only 14-16 overall record. So it's starting to show right now. And then the hero Max Johnson to A&M beat Miami 17-9. Joey, were you pretty sad about that one?
Yeah, I suppose Miami can still run the ACC and then still make the playoffs. So my playoffs are still intact, I would say. But we'll, I don't know at the moment. I would say Trent's are too at the moment.
I wouldn't say that.
You got A&M and Bama.
And Notre Dame.
Oh, God, I forgot you had Notre Dame. Never mind. Notre Dame
and Baylor.
North Carolina this weekend.
And Baylor's, they're going to have 2 losses after this week.
I know. We didn't choose too well, Trent. I know I'm okay with us being homers. We had to pick a Big 12 team, but I would say, why'd we choose Baylor when now they're going to be 2-2 going into Big 12 play? I mean, that's just.
Yeah, right now KU has a better chance.
Yeah.
KU's got a better chance of coming out of the Big 12 than Baylor.
Holy shit, that's
especially
sad.
after this
Crazy.
week. They're going to be 4-0. Baylor's going to be 2-2.
I mean, I'm gonna look it up right now, real quick. But I mean, if you really look into it, I mean, because the big thing that always hurts when we're getting to the actual playoffs is going to be, well, what's their resume? Well, Kansas, started the season. Tennessee Tech, they get their one cupcake, but they're out of conference. They went on the road to Houston, which was a ranked team at the time, playing Duke. Well, that's it. Sorry. But I mean, if they play Duke, let's just say they may run this hypothetical run. They have a very tough getting into October. It's Iowa State, TCU, which I don't know about TCU just yet, but then at Oklahoma, at Baylor, Oklahoma State, at Texas Tech. I mean, they just a brutal stretch for them. But if they can continue, I mean, I don't know. That would be the one few game. It's like, hey, if Iowa State didn't win the Big 12, but out of nowhere Kansas did, one of the final years Oklahoma and Texas are still in the conference, I think I'd take that, being to have Kansas have that one good year.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I said it last week or the week before that KU could win the national championship in basketball and football in the same year. It's still alive. Shocking.
Technically, yeah.
This far into the season.
So, yeah, exactly. That's usually shut down by about first half of week one, even versus lesser competition. I remember a couple years ago, like I picked them because I'm like, well, surely they won't lose to Coastal Carolina in my pick'em pool, and they lost week one. So, they're about 3 weeks farther along than we all expected, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's talk about some real football here. Ranked 17 Baylor, 2.5-point underdogs actually coming into Ames. Over under set at 45.5. It's on ESPN2 at 11 o'clock. Right now, Matt Campbell in his career, he's 3-3 versus Baylor. At the bottom, average margin of victory is 3.6 points a game for both sides, and then Baylor leads the all-time series 11-9. Trent, what are your thoughts on this game? Are you feeling optimistic? What do you think we need to do?
I'm feeling good about this one. Just from what we've seen out of Hunter Decker's running backs are playing good as well. Jarrell Brock is running the ball well. I think he had 100 yards in his first two games. Didn't get 100 versus Ohio because he only played the first half. The defense has been good. But like we said, I think that they need to maybe go look at other receivers. I think this is the game, we're coming into better competition into the Big 12. I think the defenses are going to be keying on Xavier Hutchinson. So who knows? Maybe this is the game that one of the new receivers, one of the other receivers has a huge game. So that would be fun to see. And, I would like to see another 43-10 victory. Just no sweat. Let's get to 4-0 easy. Let's do that.
Well,
I want to get to KU, both of us 4-0. I want game day in Ames for Iowa State and KU. Come on.
Baylor trap game because we're looking ahead to Kansas. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I agree. Like we said, the progressions. I'm just always worried we're going to see the one game and we're going to go, this is exactly what happens. The offense immediately stalls. But I think if we can definitely. I think if Jaleel Brock can get his running going in the game, he's had a couple solid performances so far. The one thing that I think is going to be a real test for this team, and Campbell's teams usually hold their exposure, is going to be this game has gotten chippy the last few years, where there's a lot of shoving matches, action after plays. It's going to be interesting to see a young team like this. We do have some solid starters coming back, but are they going to stay composed when we're technically the favorite, but are they going to be exposed when a nationally ranked team comes into your stadium? Maybe we get behind 7 points and they start jaw-jacking a little bit. Are we going to be able to stay composed and be able to get through our game plan? Because I feel like in any game we can come back, but we haven't seen the big comeback yet, and I just don't want to. I mean, remember when David Montgomery was here and he was not knocked out. He was knocked out of the game because he got into a fight. That's all they're doing. They're trying to get your best players out of the game, and that's if there's one thing you can knock on Baylor, because I hate how much I like Dave Aranda, but I mean they get chippy out there and they're a bit sorry, they're assholes. I guess I'll just be frank about it. But
I saw on Twitter. This week, because it's Baylor week, I follow a lot of Iowa State homers on, like myself on Twitter.
Mhm.
And they were saying like they had clips of that game and like just clips of other games like us and Baylor, just why we should hate them. And I think that year that they started that fight in that game, the David Montgomery year, Baylor started fights in like 4 or 5 straight games.
Yeah.
And they're all like that. It's crazy. And then the next year was the tent gate where it was like 120 degrees on Iowa State's sideline, and Baylor made them get their tents out of there so they couldn't have shade. Stuff like that. Just I hope we stomp them.
I did read there was a story that came out about how the first time like Baylor came to play in Ames, or the first year we had the scoreboard that had the actual screen on there, and it was like only 30 degrees. It was super cold, but on the screen they said it was -40 out to make them feel like it was that much colder. Like you got to have some gamesmanship. So I mean, and honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, but if we had that advantage where Baylor tried to put up tents and they didn't, we had a technicality where they couldn't. I hope we do that. That is, well, you fuck this one up, you don't get any tents now, and if we can get any advantage in a game, you're gonna do it.
They should play Baylor the last week of the season every year in Ames. Make it cold.
In Waco, at least at that point, it's going to be cooled off, so we're not dealing with 110-degre Texas heat either.
Exactly.
So. But yeah, I think Iowa State. Honestly, I think Iowa State wins, and I think we cover on this one. I think Campbell right now he's got him in the right place. Deckers can really stretch the ball out. It's just going to be can Iowa State shut down? Sorry, no offense, Joey, but the first capable quarterback that we've played this season. I know Ohio's, we saw some sparks, but this is going to be the first real quarterback with some real receivers. Are we going to be able to stop it at this point?
Yep.
So, Joey, any thoughts on the game, or you want to move on to the Iowa game?
No, I think that. Sorry, I had a work message pop up real quick, but no, I think you guys, with as chippy as Baylor's going to get, and I know you guys talk about it every year how shitty they can be on the field and stuff. And if I was Iowa State, coming back from that deficit that you had in Iowa City against that defense, that should be confidence for you guys for the rest of the year. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am an Iowa homer, and I think that defense is spec fucking tacular. But yeah, coming back and putting up points against that defense is amazing for you guys, and I think that should be something they build on for the rest of the year. And I don't give a shit who it is in the Big 12. No one in that Big 12 has a defense like Iowa does. So yeah, they should be able to, if they're down 7-10 with a few minutes left in the fourth quarter, they should be able to have all the confidence in the world that they can come back and put up points on that team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. If Iowa State can have a 99-yard, 21 play, 11-minute drive on Iowa's defense, they can score on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I think Iowa will be one of the toughest. Now, I think going across the Big 12, I'm just looking at the teams. I think Kansas State is probably next in defense. Now, same problem with Iowa. They have no offense, so I think we'd be fine there. Oklahoma's starting to. I hate how Venables has gotten them turned around immediately, because we've known they've had the athletes, but he's been able to implement his system pretty quick there. And I mean, you saw it, 49-14. I mean, the only other touchdown other than the fluke first drive was a Chubba Purdy, Brock's little brother, was scored a touchdown in garbage time. So
I forgot he went to Nebraska.
Yeah, I think he originally committed to Florida State. I think.
Yeah, he went there for a year and then transferred.
Yeah.
Who's that? Sorry, I missed that.
Chubba Purdy, Brock's little brother.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a great name, Chubba Purdy.
Chubba, absolutely. Well, so let's move on to the Iowa game here. Iowa 7.5-point favorites. The last I checked, at Rutgers this weekend. The over/under 34.5. It opened at 35. It actually has gone down a point since it opened. They're playing at 6:00 on FS1 here. Iowa is 2-0 all time versus Rutgers, but they only won 14-7 the only trip they took to Piscataway. Joey, take it away.
Another Busch Light to open right away.
That was sounding decent.
Yeah. Yeah, I would pound that under. Neither offense is very good. So yeah, pound that under. I would say we're gonna pour 27 yards of concrete Saturday morning before the game start. That may be more yards than Rutgers has all game. So I think Iowa's defense rocks this one. I haven't seen anything from Rutgers. I know they're 3-0. They've got some momentum. Excuse me, but I just don't think that I don't think they have the horses to put up points against Iowa. So I think Iowa field goals their way to a win in this one and maybe surprises us with a touchdown. I hope, like I said earlier in the recap from last week, that I hope that the offense has some momentum going and they can grow on that. But I don't know. I know that defense is going to show up and be good. So, yeah, I think Iowa wins this one 17-0.
So you think the over-under is way too high?
Oh, I think the over-under is double. Yeah.
Didn't they say this is one of the lowest over-unders in the history of like the modern era in college football?
It's got to be.
I think it's like, if not the lowest, close to one of the lowest over-unders in modern era.
How? I guess for me, over-unders, I always just split it in half, and that's what the teams are going to get. So someone's going to get 18, someone's going to get 17, basically. I don't see either team putting up more than 17 points, so I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
Yeah, because Iowa can't move the ball, and Rutgers won't move the ball. So that's my thoughts.
A rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, okay, so in the last, this has data up from 2004. The lowest college football betting totals, in 2019, Northwestern Michigan State, 35 points. 2016, Wake Forest, Boston College, 34.5. 2004, Ohio State, Penn State, 34. 2015, Missouri, Vanderbilt, 34. Iowa, Wisconsin last year, 34. And then Rutgers, Iowa, 34. So Iowa's been involved in the two lowest over-unders in history.
Mm-hmm. Is anyone shocked at this? I'm not.
Nope.
So this is tied for the second lowest in the modern era, pretty much.
Tied with the lowest.
Yeah.
So, and then 4 of the games include Big Ten teams. So, God, I don't know how you watch that conference every week, Joey.
I love it. I want to see that shit. So, yeah. Same reason I like George St. Pierre and Khabib in UFC. Like, I want to see just complete. And also why I like wrestling. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, Gable Steveson and shit is cool. Watching him do flashy big takedowns and pins is awesome. But I love the grind them out, I'm going to break you style. And that's basically what Big Ten football is. So that's what I like to see.
It broke me. I tried to watch a couple Big Ten games this season, and it just killed me.
And I'm 100% sure if you're down at my place this weekend, we'll be flipping back and forth between that and UFC, and someone will be napping at some point. I'm not going to say who, but someone will be.
Clark wants to know if there were any overs in all those games.
In all those games, there was only one over. The 35-point game, Northwestern Michigan State, that one hit 41 total points. Every other game went under. So I know Don was asking for a lock, and I didn't have that info in front of me earlier. Lock, 34.5 under. If we see Petrus scoring 35 points and then he hits over himself, is what it is. Sorry, guys, but I definitely think that under hits. That was like the first pick I actually put in this week. So,
yep. I'm telling you what, man. Don, if I had a house to throw on that, I would throw the house on that under. Just saying.
Trent is going to put all of his Dogecoin on it, and he's going to just double his money.
Oh, yeah.
Man. We haven't talked Dogecoin in a year, and we've talked on it 2 pods in a row now. I love it.
I say I listened to was that Tuesday night's podcast when I was mowing, and when I was mowing this afternoon. So I got to hear you. Yeah, I think Trent's still holding his Dogecoin.
Yeah, I only lost 80% of my value in that, but you know, you live and you learn. So what I lost in Doge, I've made money back in Iowa unders this year. So I'm gonna keep fading Iowa offense until it bites me in the ass. So, and I don't think it's gonna be this weekend.
Nope, will not.
But we kind of touched it a little bit with the Blue Bloods. Duke 8.5 point underdogs at Kansas. Over under 64.5 points. 11 on FS1 here. I mean, if it wasn't playing during the Iowa State game, we might switch to it. I'm actually going down to Missouri to see Joey this weekend, so we might switch to it occasionally. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting seeing a Duke Kansas football game getting this much attention here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a high scoring game also. Yeah, I think that the 64.5 is a lot like a basketball score, and it's fitting for the Blue Bloods.
I agree. Trent?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, as many points as KU has been putting up this year. It's crazy to say this, but they're going to be 4-0, I think, and I think they cover the 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do it. I
haven't watched Duke at all this year, but I mean that Lance Leopold, it's scary how good he's gotten them so quick. And this is actually I was always a hater of the transfer portal when it first started, but this is how scary it can be when you have a very competent and winning coach like you do in Leopold. You can instantly turn over a roster that you inherited. It's not the one that you want to keep, and all of a sudden they bring in a few linemen, they bring in some players. All of a sudden they're 3-0, and we're legitimately talking about them. So it's just going to be interesting the next few years where, I know there's been plenty of years we're going, well, it's going to be a rebuild year for Iowa State. Instantly, you get the right players in the transfer portal, you're competing the very next year. We all kind of can start feeling like Bama and Georgia and even Oklahoma and all these blue bloods where we're not we're just reloading. We're not rebuilding.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, KU's going to win this. Iowa State's winning, both 4-0. Do the right thing, game day. Come on, do the right thing.
You just need you cover, son. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about that. I was a little upset, and I didn't want to bring it up too much, but game day should have gone there. I get it. Florida, Tennessee is the huge game that what's going to make the money with the SEC. But I mean, there was so much fun in that Troy App State game that they went. I mean, people were lining up 12 hours before to be part of that game day environment. That they've done the Florida Tennessee game. I think it's been 9 times. That specifically that matchup. It just kind of, I don't know. I guess, it's not appointment television for us like we've talked about, but it would be kind of nice to see these other schools because I remember how exciting it was and how great when they came to Ames for the first time. It'd be nice to see other schools get that exposure too.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, going to the smaller schools, we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. So going to Appalachian State last week, I like it when they've been in Brookings, South Dakota for South Dakota State, North Dakota State. I like it when they go to Fargo for North Dakota State. They're a powerhouse. I like it when they go to those smaller, schools. I mean, I lived in Kansas. I went to Lawrence quite a bit for football games when Iowa State would go, and even when other Big 12 teams. I think I went to a random TCU KU game.
Yep.
Lawrence is a fun town. I think Lawrence would be awesome for game day.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I would say, and again, I think if Kansas is undefeated again next week, and if Iowa State can pull off the upset like they should, I mean, I think they seriously do get considered. There'll probably be a big ACC matchup or another SEC one, but that would kind of be another fun one back in Ames, and you get to talk
Ohio State's probably got a game. It doesn't matter who they're playing. We're going there.
Yeah. We're going to Columbus again.
We're going to Columbus. Ohio State's playing on the road, but we're going to Columbus.
I bet you there's still a dead grass stain from where the stage was a month ago. So, but
that way they know where to put it next time they're there.
Yeah, exactly. They just spray paint it off or something. Other big games for Week 4. Number 5 Clemson at 21 Wake Forest. Like we mentioned, 20 Florida at 11-20 at ranked 11 Tennessee, 10 Arkansas at number 23 Texas A&M, and then Kansas State at number 6 Oklahoma. Which couple things on these games. I guess one for the just a little Florida hate. So far this year, that Anthony Richardson, which I know someone picked up in our Heisman pool, Joey. So far this year, he has 0 throwing touchdowns, 0 passing touchdowns. He has 3 tackles because he's thrown interceptions. So not the greatest stat to have as a quarterback.
Nope.
Kansas State, I believe they have 3 wins in a row in Norman, or at least 2. I mean, I don't know what it is about Kansas State and Oklahoma, but they seem to be the giant killers for the Sooners every year. So that one will be an interesting one to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I like what Oklahoma's done on defense. I think you touched on it earlier with Venables and stuff. Their offense doesn't look the same as it normally does for some reason. I don't know if it was Caleb Williams or the coach that just left, Lincoln Riley. Yeah.
Don't matter. They're together again. Out in
getting
Southern
back with
California.
getting back with some of the chat. Don says he has Arkansas plus 115. It's a tough scene because I watched that Arkansas game, and the issue that I had, and I get it, they're playing Missouri State, and they did have Bobby Petrino, who's pretty good on offense, and he used to coach for Arkansas, so there's a little bit of a vendetta there. I can't look at a team like Arkansas that struggled versus a Missouri State and then go play Texas A&M that is now starting to get confidence after a big win versus Miami. So, I mean, am I saying no way Arkansas loses? No. I think they got a decent shot, but I just right now when I'm starting to think about it, I can't get over they were down by a couple touchdowns late in that game and they finally came back, but that worries me if they get down versus a better team like Texas A&M. Do they have the firepower to come back?
Do you know which one of those 2 teams did lose to an FCS school though? Texas A&M. I'll take Woo Pig all day with you, Don. I think Arkansas's big suey's up front, and I love KJ Jefferson. I think he is a dark horse Heisman candidate. He looks spectacular at the moment. I think Arkansas goes in there and just piss pounds them. So yeah, I'm with you, Don.
I mean, I picked Texas A&M to get to the college football playoffs, so that's the kiss of death right there. So
yep, exactly.
Arkansas is probably going to win.
Arkansas, the only team in the country that has been ranked in the top 10 in the last year in baseball, basketball, and football.
Wow.
That's a good stat.
There you go. Fucking right here. A steel trap full of them, my friend.
Let's hear them all.
I would say I don't know, man. I just think, we just, like we just said, Kansas State has been known to upset Oklahoma. And the last few times when they have upset Oklahoma, they've had a shit loss right before it, too. So I would say I honestly want to put my money on Oklahoma just because I think the odds are going to be skewed a little bit more towards people are anticipating this upset. But I think Venables has got them too good right now. Honestly, I haven't watched too much Clemson as well, but if it's the same offense that they had week 1 versus Georgia Tech, I'm a little worried about them going on the road to Wake Forest. I think they still pull it out because that's what Dabo can do. But, I mean, I'm not really too sure on that one. I mean, do you guys have any other big games that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Question about these games. Does Clemson, are they still starting, what's his name, DJ Ungulele or whatever his name is?
I think that would be a big story if they weren't.
Exactly.
Can look at it, though.
Yeah, I would think we would know if they weren't. But, the few games that I've seen him play, like I said, down and watch Clemson every week, he hasn't been great in what they've had. So that kind of worries me with Clemson. And I said at the beginning of the year, I think they're a little overrated. So going on the road against, top 25 Wake Forest school, I think a top 5 team could go down this week in Clemson.
I'm looking right now. DJ, he's been the starter. He's got 662 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. So he's turned it on a little bit the last few games. But I know that first game was so horrendous. I shouldn't judge the full season right now on the one game. But man, I would say I guess I haven't even kept it with Georgia Tech. Maybe they're legit. I don't know. But DJ did look awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wake Forest looks really, really legit right now for the first time in years. I think this is the first time they've both been ranked since like 1959 or something like that. So that's a hell of a gap. I think I'm kind of with you, Trent. I am iffy on Clemson pulling it off this weekend, but I don't know. I'm still probably going to pick them to win that. But for me, I mentioned earlier that I think the big test for Georgia coming out of that SEC East would be either Florida or Tennessee. I think both of these teams, I know Florida barely pulled off that Utah win, and then Tennessee has looked spectacular. I think whoever wins this one gets a huge boost of momentum, and I think that would be Georgia's biggest test on that side. Not saying that either team would beat Georgia, but I think if one of them catches Georgia at home, that could be a huge game for either one of these teams.
I'm sorry, you're talking about Tennessee's good, and I lost a little early in the day on Saturday, so I was kind of putting in some makeup calls. I missed 4 bets on Saturday by 6.5 total points. I was so pissed about it, and one of them I did have was Tennessee. Tennessee was a 54.5 point favorite. And I go, sure. I'm like, surely, or I'm sorry, it was an over under of 67, I think, and they scored 69 points because of it was the same thing as Clemson week 1, just a garbage touchdown because they brought in their third string and they did a hurry up offense. I don't know. I just you have those games where you're like Iowa. I feel so confident in it. I think my other one that I had that I was really pissed was Oklahoma State was a 54.5 point favorite. And I literally put in there in my description on Action Network, I would go, Oklahoma State's defense isn't as good, and say they're going to win, but they won't win by 55 points. And I was right because they won by 56 points, and I missed the spread there. So I just, I was so livid by missing those by like 3 points.
Isn't sports betting fun?
There's sometimes where it's like Vegas knows, man, but then you have the other.
I always say it, dude. After almost every game, Vegas knows. Somehow they know.
Brad has a question here. I don't know how much you guys have watched Alabama this year. He was asking, what's your guys' thoughts on the Alabama wide receivers? Seem like they've had a big drop off than their normal teams.
Yep, I will touch on this real quick. I think that first of all, I think Texas was just up for that game, so I don't think that it's anything really on the wide receivers themselves, but they are young. I mean, hell, I don't think there's a receiver on their team that's a John Mechie or Jamison Williams or Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith. Hold on. There's 2 more that I'm missing right now. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. They've just been so loaded lately that I agree with you, Brad. I think that they're not to their normal level, but they're also young. Give them to the end of the year. I think Bryce Young is a staple for that team and will right the ship with them.
And that's, we talk about Bryce Young. He's the Heisman Trophy candidate. That's got to be his job. They are younger. They aren't going to be the ones that carry you. He's got to prove that there's a reason he won the Heisman. It's because he can lift those players up, and I even said earlier in this pod, Alabama's a bit undisciplined right now. So I think they smoke more than half the country with ease. But I mean, compared to typical Saban teams, they aren't quite as locked in. And again, we only have 3 games to work with, but I think we'll definitely start seeing that where you're going to see like the silly false starts that they never get. You're going to see a few more of those mistakes. So.
Yeah, they're just super young. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, look at USC in the mid 2000s and shit, and the Ohio State, Miami. Like dynasties don't last forever all the time, and I think that they are actually reloading right now. I won't count out Nick Saban, and I won't count out Bryce Young at all. So I think, just give them some time, and I think that group will regroup and be better by the end of the year.
Now, one thing, I'm glad you actually said it that way, Joey, because we talk about dynasties can't last forever, but look at how Saban, just because of his sheer dominance, has completely reformatted and changed college football in general. I mean, when he was at Alabama, they were still doing BCS, and because of how it kept being Bama, and because of how, honestly, if you remember the year where Oklahoma State lost at Ames and they should have been in the national championship, I mean, they skewed the system where Saban said because of one double overtime loss in Ames on the road, he dropped them to 17 in the country, and they lost by a couple thousandth of a percent. And LSU gets into the most boring national championship game in history. You know, we went from the BCS to, okay, we need to change this to a 14
The Big Ten
playoff.
fan thought that national championship was awesome.
Yeah,
it's third on my rankings forever. So
yeah. Joey was ripping through his zipper on that 6-3 game, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you got Texas, USC, Ohio State, Miami, and then Alabama, LSU, my 3 favorite national championships.
That one did have so much NFL talent. If you do go back, I'm pretty sure it was like 20 of the 22 starters ended up in the NFL. But I guess back to Saban. But I mean, like, you know, because he's been so dominant and there's been no change, it is. I think he's fast forwarded the game. Like, I think we would have eventually gotten to NIL, and we would have eventually gotten to transfer portal. We would have eventually got there, but because of Alabama's dominance and in turn bringing the SEC up with it, we've had to see these dynamic changes probably 10, 20 years sooner, because we have to compete with Bama, and that's just the standard that Saban has them to. They're fucking at 100%, and everyone else can't even compete, and they have to. I think they've literally had to change the game around just him specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at the teams that have actually beat him in the last 4 years. You got Dabo Swinney's Clemson teams. You got the Georgia teams. You have, you know, an Ohio State team every once in a while that could knock him off, type of thing. Like, it's a one-off team, but Alabama's still top 4 or top 3 every single year, and you don't see that in the history of college football unless you go back to like the 1910s and 1920s with all the Notre Dame people and shit like that, which I don't even count those stats. Who gives a shit about those things? But I wasn't alive.
And, you know, we talked about this wide receiver group and they're young and all that, and just someday I hope that I can say that Iowa State's having a rebuilding year and they're number 2 in the nation. Someday, please.
You know, the last time Alabama had less than 11 wins in the season?
Oh, my God. Probably when they put... Yeah.
It's been 11 fucking years.
That's disgusting. It's been over a decade.
Jesus Christ.
I was going to say when they beat Iowa State in the, what was it, the Liberty Bowl or the Independence Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama, like 20 years ago.
2001, they beat Iowa State 14-13. And only because of that game, they hold the all-time record versus us. They're 1-0 versus Iowa State.
All because of a Tony Yelk field goal that went over the upright, and they called it no good.
Yep. I'm just saying, Iowa State probably has the smallest margin of loss compared to any team versus Alabama right now. So, come at me.
We hold our own.
Them's just facts.
Awesome.
But, I don't know. Well, we've hit over an hour here, guys. We've kind of been bullshitting a little bit. Do you guys have anything you guys want to talk about? Any locks of the week other than the Iowa under that you want to discuss?
I already mentioned mine. I think that's KU covering versus Duke. Never thought I'd say it.
Yeah, KU. I believe this has been only the second time in the last 10 years that they've been a favorite over an SB or an FBS team as well. Yep. We talked a little bit earlier, Don. We do like Arkansas over Texas A&M. I just think right now, I mean, Joey said it perfectly. Jefferson is leading them pretty well, and as much as we joke about Max Johnson being fine, if they get ahead, I think they'll be fine. A&M, if they get ahead, their defense played pretty stout, and that was with all the suspensions and the I can't remember their star player that got kicked out because of a flagrant foul. I mean, and they held Miami. Now, is Miami the greatest team? No, but I mean, that is a tough one. But I think Arkansas pulls it out.
Yep, I like Arkansas on that one too.
Yep, me too. I got. I'm in a Big Ten Survivor pool, so I got Purdue beating FAU this weekend. And I hope the rest of my cohorts in that pool end up losing, because that's like another $150 that I can take home, which would be nice. But there is I do want to plug this real quick. My favorite female fighter, not named Amanda Nunes, is fighting this weekend in the UFC. So check that out. It's a free card on ESPN Plus. Mackenzie Dern. If you're heterosexual male, you will not be disappointed with that.
I thought you were gonna say. Joanna Young Jurchek is coming out of retirement or something.
Nope. Watch this weekend. You'll know why she's my second favorite fighter.
Favorite. Okay.
Yeah, you'll understand once you see her.
All right.
Yep. No, I think we're all good, Bri. You got anything?
No, Brent was asking if we had any locks from the NASCAR race on Sunday, and I just told him the lead driver was going to turn the left the best, minus 800. So
it's like the South Park episode where Cartman's a NASCAR driver. Turn left.
Go fast and turn left.
Dipping Vagisil. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because it makes him dumb.
Yes. I need to watch some more.
That episode was on. So
yeah,
when I got called in the other night, so Pedro goes off at 9:45. I have to go into work. I do a scan. I don't get home till almost 3 a.m. My alarm's going to go off at 4 a.m. to go to work at 5:30 the next day. I just turn on the TV and just sit on the couch and watch TV. And that episode was on Comedy Central.
Nice. Hell yes.
Yep.
The best part of that episode I do think was funny is like it's like real NASCAR answers talking about like the grade of the course and the humidity and the actual smart stuff that you have to know for NASCAR. Yeah, we're going to turn left and we're going to go fast and yeah, we're going to run each other. I can't remember, Joy, who did we pick for the Bears in Road to 272 preview?
I think, Brad, you should check out our podcast from last night, Road to 272. It's on YouTube. Just after we're done here, just go right over and watch that video. We'll let you know. It'll give you all kinds of picks for this weekend there, buddy.
I got my picks in today.
About time.
You did finally?
Oh, I had to. There's a game going on right now. I had to drive to Iowa to put my picks in.
Well, I can't. I'll be honest, Brad. I can't really remember my week 3 pick versus Bears. All I gotta say is make sure you follow my picks because right now I'm leading at 20-12. Right now I'm the only better over 60%. Yeah, I'm 62.5%. So I'm doing pretty solid right now, Brad. Make sure you write down all my picks. I had fucking who are they? San Fran.
Bryant's raw over there from just beating himself off over this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I got to say it while it's real because otherwise, if I don't, I'm sorry, Brad. I had Houston covering 2.5, so I'm sorry. I think it was a fluke that San Fran lost to the Bears week 1 in that tsunami. But I don't know if we see something. Maybe an Ohio State quarterback can prove something. But
I got Bears winning. Ride David Montgomery.
Tell the fucking coach to ride him then because they were on the 1 yard line. They don't give it to him.
It didn't matter. That was a touchdown that was not called a touchdown and even reviewed and not called a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Would have been a touchdown if David Montgomery got the ball. That's all I know.
Yep.
So before this completely goes off the rails, Joe, you want to hit him with the socials one more time?
Yep. Instagram and Twitter at Heartland Pulse. Facebook and YouTube, just search Pulse of the Heartland. Too many of these Bush Tall Boys, baby.
Yes.
You're watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching and commenting on everything. Make sure to tell your friends to join us too. And if you like how this kind of went off the rails at the end, get more people to comment. We'll just keep, spewing shit over. So, yeah, this is what we like to do.
You can really derail this fucking thing.
Yeah, this is the most fun we have.
Yeah. It's a lot more fun like this. Like, this is awesome when we have had a lot of people commenting in the chat and stuff. I love that.
Yeah. So we do appreciate you guys, but please spread the word. Let them know we're going to keep trying to do it every Thursday at 8:30. Keep a consistent time. Honestly, while you're watching, I've been watching West Virginia and Virginia Tech not hit the fucking over like I thought, and the Steelers Browns not hit the under like I thought. So 0-2 tonight. Not a good start for the road to 272, but no. Again, do appreciate you guys, and just keep the comments coming, please.
It wasn't because of West Virginia that they didn't hit that over. Damn, they put on a show tonight. That was good.
So, they got some holy shit, actually. 42, the over-under was 50. Shit, actually, let's cut it off before I start looking at something else. But again, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody.